A habit is a routine behaviour that's usually done subconsciously and repeated regularly. Through being a tattoo artist for 16 years, I've developed a few habits of my own that in hindsight was absolutely crucial to my success in this industry. So here's 5 habits for new and experienced tattoo artists. If you're serious about tattooing, the last tip is vital. It's so important. So you can either jump straight to that and skip, but for the sake of a few minutes, we might as well just have a little chat, haven't we? Number 1, this was actually a bad habit that I formed that I had to change. So we'll start off with a negative. I don't think I used to estimate time very well. And it had a few problems to that. 1, it'd make me rush. 2, I'd be late for the next customer. Especially early on in your career, what it can also do is cause panic. So anybody that's new to tattooing and been tattooing people, whether it be for a few months, or even if you've been doing it years and you're still rubbish at estimating time, you will fully understand everything that I'm saying right now. You think, oh, I can do that, it'll take me an hour. 3 hours into that tattoo, you can see on customers' face, it causes doubt, more pain than what they actually thought they were going to get. It could ruin their plans if they thought that they were coming in for just 1 hour. And it also creates self-doubt in yourself thinking, God, what's customer thinking? Are they thinking that I don't know what I'm doing? This shouldn't be taking so long. Is this the right career for me? Am I doing it right? What have I done wrong? Really, really learn to overestimate how long something's going to take. Then there's no rush. The customer's not thinking anything negative. If anything, you're finishing earlier than the expected time. So they're actually pleased with the outcome rather than say, yeah, I can have that done in 1 hour and it's a fucking half sleeve. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous what I used to think I could get done in a set time. And I know firsthand, like I say, we've got over 100,000 people learning through my online course. It's one of the biggest problems that people say, God, I thought I'd have that done in an hour, it's took me 3. I thought that'd be a 15-minute thing, it's took me 2 hours. Try to anticipate, look, for the first few years at least, it's going to take a lot longer than what you initially think, and that's fine. The second habit is creating a niche, and there's certain things that you need to do on a regular basis, hence habit, to create and to make that or guide that to happen. I'll relate to myself just as an example. I do black and grey realism. Anything that's black and grey and it's got that realistic twist, that's what I wanted to be known for. So initially when I first started my shop, I needed them customers. Literally anybody would walk in, right, I want this old school, I want this traditional, I want this colour piece. I'd have just done anything because I needed the money, I needed the customers. What you need to start doing is slowly, it's not an overnight thing, you don't have to just refuse all customers, but especially on your social medias, whenever you're doing something that you want to do more of, tell people. Just be open. So every single time somebody come in for something black and grey, really sticky, I shouted from rooftops, absolutely loved doing this design, would love to do more along this style. I want to be known as the black and grey realism artist who's got some ideas that they want doing along them lines. People would start flooding in. You'd still get the people coming in for colour or traditional work. That's fine as you're transitioning. I still used to do those as well. But every time I did what I wanted to do, the niche that I wanted to target, I shouted really loud as much as I could on socials. Eventually, nobody started coming to me for the things that I didn't want to do because all they were seeing and hearing is black and grey realism, and that's all I used to shout about. Every now and again, I'd get a new customer say, oh, do you do this? Once I'd reached that level and I didn't really need the customers, I just used to say, look, I can point you in the right direction. Unfortunately, that's not the style that I specialise in. I'd recommend you go here, and give them a list of artists that were local, that were really good at that particular niche. Again, just a nice thing, helping other artists out, all working together. But I just got to the point where I could stick to doing what I enjoyed doing and what I was good at doing. So third point, habit, and it's something that I didn't learn at the beginning, I actually learned that later on, is using fake skin to learn. Even if you're an established artist, now that I've taught hundreds of thousands of people and I've really used fake skin a hell of a lot, as you can imagine. Now, if I want to try a new needle, a new technique, rather than risking doing something wrong on a person that I did for years, not necessarily did it wrong, but experimented and tried new things, essentially risking the outcome of that person's work that's on them for the rest of their life. When you think of it logically, it's kind of a bit of a silly thing to do when it could crush your business. And moving forward, and for the past few years, every single time I want to learn a new technique, I've been watching YouTube or at a convention and I can see somebody doing something a different way to what I do, I think I'm going to give that a go. Instead of trying it on a person, you can come back, just get a bit of artificial skin out and practice and see how you feel about the technique. It is vital that learning on artificial skin, we never ever stop learning as a tattooist. I'm no guru, I'm no expert. I've just put a course together. Some people saw it and said, wow, Ben, this is really helpful to me. Can you make some more? So I did. It kind of fell into my lap. This wasn't done on purpose. It's like almost happened by accident. But people responded really good to the way that I teach. And that's how we are where we are today. But if I could go back to the very beginning, I would have spent a lot more time learning on mats. The fourth habit, and this is a quick one because I want to go really into depth on the next one, last one, is learning to post. Not every single day, but doing it monthly. And I don't mean just one post per month. Social media can be an absolute nightmare. You just want to be tattooing all day. You've got the shop to run, you've got to clean, you've got to set up, you've got to do everything else. The last thing that we want to do is be jumping on social media thinking, right, I've got to put that post on, I've got to comment back, I've got to do this, it's time consuming. So one of the habits that I created that I wish that I'd have done from day one because it drastically makes life just so much easier is scheduling the posts out for the month. And then that's done. It is literally done in one day. You don't have to be spending every day on social media. Let's get straight on with last tip. The last tip is never stop learning the basics. And I want to really put a massive emphasis on this. Like I say, we've got over 100,000 people done my course. We've got thousands that have done the full course that takes people on average around a year to complete. Now, this is the vital thing. They had to do the first 30 days and then they go on to the full course and they've got to do the exact same lessons again. As you can imagine, this causes frustration for a lot of people thinking, I've done it. But the first 30 days covers line work, straight lines, curved lines, joining lines, the principles behind shading using dot work, then shading with round shaders and magnums. It's the basics, the fundamentals that you need to become an amazing artist. So many people say, but I've already done that. They're forced to do it again. They've got to do it again. There's no ifs or buts. You can't skip it. Every single person, when they get to later lessons, when we're doing all the realistic portraits, the animals, the humans, it is 100% unanimous. They all say, I am so glad I had to go back and redo those basics at the very beginning because they are so important. And believe me, I'm not bothered who you are as a tattoo artist. You could be just starting out or you could be one of the biggest names in the industry watching this. None of us are perfect at lines. None of us can shade perfect. There's always going to be that room for improvement. If you are one of those people that say, no, I can line fucking better than anybody in the world and I don't need to practice lining, then you're an idiot and you're never going to progress. You've got to have the attitude of I always want to learn, and to learn you've got to go back to the basics. You've got to go, right, I'm going to spend the next hour after work and I'm just going to really practice to try and improve on my line work. Get some mats out and just practice improving that one specific skill. Day after or later on that week you might think, right, I've got a couple of hours to spare. Do you know something? I'm going to get mats out and just really practice getting a smooth blend from dark to light using a small mag. That's how specific you can be when it comes to the practicing. But imagine if you're already tattooing, you might have a shop, you might just be learning, but imagine if for a year, every time you got a bit of spare time, you thought, right, I'm going to really try and improve that one particular skill. In a year's time, just imagine how good you would be. It's ridiculous, the improvement that you can make. And that's backed up because that is the formula that I basically use in the entire course. And people have gone from not being able to do a straight line to being able to do world-class portraits in 6 months to a year. The system works, but to work through the system, you've got to hammer the basics again and again and again and again. Then all of a sudden, you become this amazing artist and you think, I've just been hammering the basics, because there's no magic thing in tattooing. If you see a world-class tattoo, amazing tattoo, there's not a magic formula. There's not a magic technique that you've got to purchase or you get give after so many years of tattooing. It's just they are that good at the basics. The lines are very, very good. The packing is very, very good. Their ability to go from from dark to light shades is awesome. The way that they can block out an area with the perfect tone, and it's so consistent. The basics that we cover at the beginning. These world-class amazing artists are just so good at the basics, but so many people forget to go back and practice the basics. I've got the largest online tattoo school worldwide. It works out at less than $1 per lesson for fundamental course. There's links in the description, go check it out. But as always, here it comes.